about summer snow. When it falls on you, your blood runs cold. But don't you sweat your pretty skin, 'cause it melts away for it sinks in. And you dream about this very night.
Today, we're testing out a plugin called Dehancer. It's gonna help you get that film light color grade, as well as other ever so trending film effects. I use Dehancer to color grade that whole opening sequence, as well as everything else in this video. I'm gonna go get a few more shots of the family on our little walk, then we'll run home and see what this plugin can do for our footage.
Through the whispers of pines, I hear them sing. The more you love, the more you live.
All right, so here I am back at my computer, ready to do some editing. First thing you're gonna wanna do, obviously, is download the program. Go to dehancer.com, link is down below. There's also all sorts of videos and information and guides on their website, so it's very helpful. I am editing in Final Cut Pro, but there's also options for DaVinci Resolve and Adobe Premiere. And for you photo editors out there, it's also available in Lightroom, Capture One, Photoshop. So check that out. I can't wait to try out those programs. Let me know if you want to see a video about that in the future. I'm going to download for Mac, but it's also available for Windows and Linux. And down below, you select your product. You can actually download individual aspects of this plugin, like just a grain, bloom, halation, things like that. You can get a light version, but I am going to download the Pro version so I can show you guys everything that Dehancer has to offer. You can also download a free trial just to test it out. When you are ready to buy, you can use my code ALA10 for 10% off your purchase. Install it just like any other program, and when it's done, you just need to restart or open up Final Cut or your program of choice, and it'll be in your effects panel. Drag it onto your footage, and the first thing you want to do is go all the way down to where it says license info, and you're going to put in your information there so that you don't have the watermark on it. And when you purchase, you do get 2 licenses for this, so if you have a second computer or a laptop and a desktop, whatever, you can actually use this twice. In addition to that, you also want to click on the check profile button right below the licensing button. That's going to make sure that you're up to date on all of the film stocks and camera profiles that they offer. So make sure you're good to go there. And after that, you're ready to jump in and start grading your footage. Really quick, I also want to mention that Dehancer did reach out to me to make this video, but they did not give me any money. They did not tell me what to say. They wanted an honest review. So that's what I'm here to do. I'm not going to go into detail here on how to color correct your footage. There's plenty of videos out there for that, and you should also probably already know how to do that before jumping into something like Dehancer and getting creative with your color grading. So get proficient in that first, and then try something like this out. This is not going to magically make your footage good, just my 2 cents. Right off the bat, you're going to put Dehancer onto your footage. It does feel a little bit overwhelming when you first see the inspector window of Dehancer. There's a lot going on, and if you've never done anything like this before, yeah, it's a little bit overwhelming, but honestly, there's a lot of ways to tweak your footage and make it exactly how you want. So just a little bit of a learning curve, keep that in mind. I'm gonna run through some of these and give you kind of what I do as far as my workflow goes. So all of my footage has been shot on a Sony in S-Log3. So it's log footage, and I did not put a correction LUT or anything like that on it before putting Dehancer on. So I'm going to show you how to do that in Dehancer. If there's a LUT that you like to correct your log footage and do your tweaking first, your fine-tuning, color correction first, that's totally fine. But I actually think it looks really nice in Dehancer. So I'm going to show you how to input your camera and go from there. So right at the top there, if your footage is already corrected, just leave it at Rec 709. Mine was in log footage, so I'm going to go down to choose camera and select Sony, but there's all these other options as well. Mine's a Sony A7S III is what I shot this clip on. All my footage is going to be A7S III or ZVE1, and then S-Gamut 3 Cine. And bam, that's already looking really, really nice in my opinion. So the next tab down is going to be your film stock. There are dozens of film stocks to choose from. I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about film stocks. I've never shot on film, so I'm not trying to like match a certain type of film stock or anything. I'm literally just going through and clicking different ones to see if they're going to match my footage or not, if it's something that I like. Also, ooh, that is a really, really nice black and white on this clip. I've been gravitating towards the Fujicolor 100 and the Kodak Gold 200. Those have been really nice for me on most of my footage, but there's a few other ones that I've been messing with a little bit, like the Ektar 100. But I think this clip I'm going to stick with the Fuji 100 for this clip. I'm going to tweak this a little bit to get it to exactly where I want it. This is actually set up pretty nice where you can just start at the top and go to the bottom. That's what I've been doing. So the next tab down is going to be your film developer, and that's where you can boost some contrast, which I'm going to do on this clip. Oh shoot, one thing that I always forget sometimes is there's a little checkbox down here that you need to check in order for your adjustments in that tab to show up. So sometimes they're turned off. Just click that on. All right, so this clip I do want to add a little bit of contrast because it looks really nice with that window light. And then I'm not going to go into every single slider in here on this inspector, but just some of the ones that I use most of the time. So there's color boost, which is going to add a little bit of saturation, which I do like to add saturation a little bit to some of these because a lot of these film stocks are pretty desaturated. So I'm gonna add a little bit of color back into this clip. And then next tab down, I haven't really been using this tab too much, to be honest. Your next tab is actually one that I use pretty often, and that's going to be where you can crush your blacks and brighten up your highlights if you wish to do that. Your next tab, which I have not been using, is your print, and that's where you can select like these different papers for what you would be printing on. I'm not messing with that too much. It completely changes the way your footage is looking, so I just leave it at linear, and I'm just going to be closing these tabs as we go along just so we're not looking at too much all at once. So the rest of this stuff is going to be different aspects of your film look. You have your film grain, halation, bloom, film damage, film breadth, gate weave, and overscan. And those are all going to be included in the Pro version, but you can get, I think all of those or most of them separate as well. For most of my footage and my style, I'm not going to be adding a whole lot of grain. That's just my personal preference. You can go as crazy as you want. I've been liking the 65 ISO 50, and that just adds a little bit. It's not going to be anything crazy, but it does add a little bit, which I like. But the grain in Dehancer looks very, very nice. I will say that. It looks like it's a little bit more embedded in the image and not just like an overlay. So I really like the grain and how they use it in this program. Halation, that's going to add a little bit of a fringing around your subject and around the lines. Let me zoom in, see if we can see this a little bit better. So you can tell like around her arm, there's like a kind of an orange line. Let me turn that off and on. You can really tell it shows up there. You got some kind of around the window there. And you can, kind of like the grain, you can go a little bit more subtle with it or really add a lot to it. This is going to add a little bit more realistic look to your film if you're wanting to go for that ultra film look. For me, I think I'm going to leave that off for this image. Like I said, I'm typically not trying to emulate exactly how film looks. I'm just trying to add a little bit of character without overdoing it for most of my clips. You can add a bloom. I shoot a lot of these video portraits with a diffusion filter on it. I know I did with this one, but with the bloom on here, you don't really have to use a diffusion mist filter anymore, because you can just add bloom in post, which is very nice. It just adds a little bit of glow, a little bit of smoothness to your image. Like I said, I already had a filter on for this one, but it actually, like, even adding a little bit more is pretty nice. Here's the off, on, adds a little bit more glow and really nice fall off on the highlights there. You can add film damage. Some of these next ones are a little bit more for if you're really going for that like home style film look. Film damage, which I don't really use, film breath, gate weave. I haven't really been needing or wanting any of those on my footage as of yet. The overscan, you can choose these right out the box, but you can also adjust them a little bit. So you can adjust the corners to be sharp, rounded. You can turn the little boxes to white if you want. And then you can make these bigger, make it smaller, things like that. So I'm gonna turn that off for my footage. And then what's really nice is that it has a built-in vignette, which I love adding a vignette to a lot of my footage that have a subject in it. It'll just bring a little bit more focus to your subject, and that's looking really, really nice. If you fine-tune a look that you're really liking and you want to use it across your whole project or save for future projects, you can actually just create a LUT with what you have made. So you don't have to just copy paste your settings. You can just create a LUT, and that's going to make putting this look on all of your footage a lot easier. And you can do that really easily right here in this LUT generator tab. If you create your look and you're thinking, oh, this is really nice, but it's just a little bit too intense, you can use this output total impact slider right here, and that's going to dial all the settings that you did up above, and it's going to bring them back. Say your contrast, your grain, everything is just a little bit too crazy. You can just like pull it back a little bit and call it good right there. You can use this for wedding videos, you can use this for travel films, narrative films. There's a lot that you can do with this. It makes your footage look so cinematic and beautiful, and I'm definitely going to be using this on a lot of the projects that I work on going forward. You can go subtle with it, or you can really make it look like an old-timey film if you want to go that route. There's a lot of really cool things you can do with Dehancer, and it's really going to make your footage look beautiful and cinematic and creative. I would say that if you already have a film emulation that you like, you probably don't need another one unless you're unhappy with the one that you currently use. But if you are looking to try something like this out, maybe you need a new tool to get some creativity flowing, this would be a great option. I will say that the price for this suite is a little steep, especially if you're just starting out. But if you make money from making videos, or you just need a new coloring tool to take your footage to the next level, this is an amazing option. One great thing though about Dehancer is that there's different purchase options. The Pro version, which you're going to get everything included, is $449 for lifetime access, but you can also get 1 year, 6 months, and 3 months. The Lite version is another great option for $200 for a lifetime, and that's just it's not gonna have every single thing that the Pro version has, but you might not need everything. You might not need film damage and overscan and a couple other things that the Pro version has. So that's another great option. And again, if you just want a grain or a bloom, halation, those things, they're $100 for a lifetime. Again, you can get 10% off these prices by using my code ALA10. I do also quickly want to mention that Dehancer has a mobile app, so you can take your film emulation on the go and edit straight from your iPhone. I don't have an iPhone, so I wasn't able to test this out, but if that's something that you're interested in, please check it out. Let me know if you have any questions or if there's anything specific you want to know about Dehancer. I'd be happy to answer those for you in the comments below. I am planning on trying out the Lightroom version of this program to see what it does for my photo editing as well. If you'd like to see that and other future videos, please hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next adventure.